I thought it would be a good idea in preparing for Easter to look at the resurrection accounts in all four Gospels. So, what I decided to do this week in preparation is to read those accounts from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I noticed as I was reading them that there were four different accounts. Mark, for example, doesn't even have anything beyond they went to the tomb and it was empty, and his gospel ends there. And then in the other gospel passages, you have Peter and John running to the tomb. John outruns Peter. Another gospel where Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene as the gardener. Luke has the story of the road to Emmaus where Jesus appears on the road and they recognize him in the breaking of the bread. And I thought, wow, what's going on here that there's four different accounts? Is this historical what is being discussed here? Because how could there be four different accounts? Now, as I was reading these accounts, I was also texting my daughter back and forth. We were kidding around because her friend that she's known since she's 5, which was 15 years ago, she's a sophomore in college. Her friend was coming and they were meeting, and she was going to go to Reagan Airport and meet her friend, and then they were taking buses and going Uber and going to the Pentagon Mall. And I thought, like, it's just amazing how she has grown so much and with her friend for 15 years. And it was amazing. I was sitting in my kitchen, and as I looked up, I saw this picture of the two of them when they were 5 years old in their little snowsuits. Rachel had her little Hello Kitty hat, and I started getting a little choked up, thinking like how my little girl has grown up, and now she's 20. And then I thought to myself, wow, how could I possibly express in human language this magical, mystical, deep experience of profound love that I have for my daughter? I couldn't even describe it in words. There's no real words that would adequately describe and depict what that relationship is like. And as I thought about that, I thought, I wonder if maybe that's what's going on in these gospel accounts. You have four different depictions of this experience, this profound, life transforming experience, and they're trying to put in words something that is inexplicable. In addition to that, we have to also appreciate that when we're reading these gospel accounts, we are reading from a first century mentality. These are people, this is the year, 70, 80, 90 AD. They're recalling accounts that occurred 40, 50 years prior, and they're using the language that they knew. They're using their perception of reality, and we have to appreciate that. And certainly, if this experience occurred today, we would use 21st century language. And so, what they're doing is they're trying to describe this powerful event. Now, clearly, one of the things that were common was that it occurred on the first day of the week. They were afraid, they were hiding. They all admit and acknowledge that. And we would have to say that that was true, because why would they admit something that is not something that they would be very proud of? And yet, no doubt something occurred, something very powerful occurred for all of them, seemingly at the same time, where they went from being afraid to being radically transformed in their mind and in their heart that Jesus was alive beyond the crucifixion, and that this presence was experiential, and that this presence gave them a courage that they then went out and boldly proclaimed at the risk of their life, which many of them and most of them were murdered because of their faith, because of what they were proclaiming. Something powerful occurred on the first day of the week, and it was transformational. Now, what do we get from the story of Easter? One, we get that there is life beyond death. That as a Catholic Christian, we are acknowledging that Jesus conquered death and that we live beyond the body. So, one powerful thing for you to ask yourself this morning on Easter Sunday is, do you believe that? Do you believe that you are eternal? Do you believe that you are a consciousness and that you will always be aware of yourself forever? You are an eternal being. Do you believe that? The second thing is that this presence, this resurrected presence of Jesus, was alive and operative in their lives, and therefore that risen presence is alive and operative in you. That you do not live alone, that when you have a problem, you have a heartache, you have something that you're trying to deal with and overcome, that you have a power beyond yourself to be able to be healed, to be reconciled, to be made whole, that nothing has ever happened in your life that you cannot overcome with the power of Jesus Christ inside of you. That this is a reality. This is not just some nice thing that we're making up. This is a reality that is part and parcel of a Catholic Christian. Do you believe this? If you, on this Easter Sunday, could walk around in the awareness that you are an eternal being, that you will never cease to be aware of yourself, and that as you are living in your body, that you live with a power beyond yourself. If you could live in the awareness of those two things, your life will be transformed. You will never be the same again.